Hello everyone. I'm going to give you an introduction to charcoal, actually for the charcoal workshop. So I thought of starting with the first um, material that we are going to use, and that is the PanPastel. Now the brand name is PanPastel, as you can see there. One word with two hyphenated P's there. So that's the PanPastel. And it at this stage it costs about 260 rand for a little tin like this. It lasts for quite a while, and you use it with these applicators. Now you'll see there are different shapes in these applicators, and they're like a metal palette knife with a sponge in the front that you can get refills for. And then it's easy to use. You just use it by putting it into the little pan, and then it is quite easy to do a large area with this, to cover quite a large area. And it actually works very well with charcoal. So this is just pigment with binder, and you can see that even with the sides of it you can draw. It will also erase. This is just a normal eraser. I'm just showing you that you can draw with your eraser into it. Okay. You can also use it with your natural charcoal. So natural charcoal like this, you can see it by the shape that it's not too regular. So it's organic shape, and it's got a grain to it as well. So some of it might be scratchy, and you can get rid of some of the scratchiness if it has a scratchy part in it by using sanding paper like that. You can obviously collect this charcoal dust as well to work with. Okay, and then you can use it in your work to cover big areas. You can use something like this to smudge it with. This is just a very soft cloth. So if you want to cover a large area, this is almost the quickest way to do it. And what I like about natural charcoal and PanPastel is that you can still edit it afterwards. So it's not set in cement. So while you are getting acquainted with your reference that you are going to use, this medium actually works very well. We are going to work on colored paper with a slight tooth. This is a Fabriano tinted paper. It's only 120 GSM, and it works well for dry media. So any of the papers that you buy, as long as it says it's suitable for dry media such as pen, pencil, charcoal, pastel, it will be nice to use. It works better if it has a slight tooth. If it has a shine to it, then the charcoal won't adhere to it as well as it should. This is a Montmartre white charcoal. Unfortunately, this one fell and it broke into pieces on the inside. So even if I sharpen it, it keeps on breaking. But you can see if you use it on colored paper that the white actually shows off. I don't like to use this on white paper because the color of the paper often differs from the pastel or the white charcoal that you are using, and it bothers me. So this one is a Derwent white pastel. Just want to take off the, yeah, it says here Academy Pastel white. So it feels quite soft, although it should be classified as a hard pastel. The fact that it's got such a regular shape will tell you that it's actually a hard pastel. Not as hard as the ones that are encased in wood like this. The pastel pencils are the hardest. What it means, it's got less pigment and more binder in, which is actually nice to do drawings, to start your drawings and things with, if you use the hard pastels to do your drawings with, because the softer pastels can go over it, while the other way around it doesn't actually work as well, because yeah, this already is filling the tooth a little bit. Okay, so just about that. And then let's go back to the natural charcoal. I love to work with the natural charcoal, and yes, it does mess quite a bit. So when I work with my charcoal drawings, I work either upright or at a slight angle, and then I will have something like a paper towel underneath where this dust will collect. Okay, and then you can reuse the dust, or you can dampen that a little bit so that it doesn't go anywhere, so it just sticks to that dampened cloth that you've got underneath, and it actually works quite well. So it's not as messy then. All right, now I just want to show you, this is a quick drawing that I did yesterday, starting with PanPastel, just to get going and to do the outward shapes and things like that. And then I started drawing with the natural charcoal, this one. I don't like using the compact charcoal, so you'll see when you look at this here, I just want to get it out, these ones here, they are compressed charcoal, so it has a very regular shape and it is very, very dark. So if you look at it, you'll see it's really your darkest charcoal, where if you put this one next to it, it is dark, but it's not as dark. I don't know whether it will show up on the video, but this is not as dark as that. And you'll see that if you try and blend it, that the darker charcoal also does not erase as well as the lighter charcoal. Okay, so I try and limit this to the later stages of my drawing, to use the compressed charcoal. All right, these are all compressed charcoals of different brands. Okay, this one is a Faber-Castell, this one I think is a Montmartre, and this one is a Generals, and it also comes in different grades like 4B, 2B, and yeah, so the higher the B is, the blacker it is, or more black it is, and the softer it is. Okay, and it goes quite dark. All right, another thing I would like to show you is all the other tools that we are going to use. So if we have a look, I just want to take away this picture over here so that it's less busy. So the things that we are going to work with mainly is the PanPastel and the natural charcoal. In that order, we're going to start with the PanPastel, then the natural charcoal. We're going to make use of blending stumps. Now the blending stumps, what that does is just what it says. So you can actually use that to soften edges, and if you roll it into the thing, you can also draw with that. Okay, these are just paper stumps or blending stumps that you can use, and they come in a variety of sizes as well. In the beginning, I press the charcoal into the paper so that it actually almost stains the paper. So you can go over that to make that even darker. So with every layer that you put on top of it, it becomes a little bit darker. Okay, so you'll see that is now nice and dark. I press it in again, and I go over that again to make that even darker. Now, not all paper can take that kind of hammering, if I can put it like that. So you can see it doesn't really go darker than that. So if I need that to be darker, I must either leave that like that and not touch it again, or I must use a more permanent or a darker compact charcoal like this. So you'll see that if I go over it like that, you can see how dark that is. Okay, that is a very good quality dark pastel black. Now you can see those two lines, they stay, the rest don't. Okay, throughout your drawing you can actually sort of get rid of the dust by tamping it like down like that to get rid of most of the dust. Okay, and then the other tools that we are going to use are the different erasers. Now the first eraser I want to introduce you to is the softest eraser, which is your kneadable eraser. Now this one, you can see it's quite dark. It used to be a light gray like that, and it is just exactly that. It's kneadable. Okay, and you can do it into different shapes, and you can use it as a drawing tool. Now when you look at that, you can see it makes quite interesting marks. Now it's full of charcoal here, and what is nice about this is it does not damage your paper, right? Not at all. So I can then erase it, make interesting marks. Let me just darken it a bit again so that you can see. You must be careful to blow into it, because it might dampen the paper if there's any fluid in your breath or anything like that. It will affect your paper. So your paper is quite important. So you can see that this is the first sort of tool that I'll use, because it's soft. I don't do detail at this stage. I just use it to soften the edges and yeah, to work with that. So you can see it can go quite thin if I do that, and it can do very nice thin marks. Now the other erasers that I like to use are any of the other kind of erasers, not just the I just don't like the sandy kind that is quite coarse. So like this is just a normal plasticine eraser, and you can see, I mean, you can sharpen this with a knife as well. So you can see, but what it does, it makes this little fluffies that can be bothersome. So you can blow that away, or you can have a soft brush to sort of soften it. What I also like to do is sometimes I don't want it as white, so I'll blend it with a surrounding charcoal a little bit just to soften it, to give it another layer. So if I go on top of it with my eraser again, then I have different tonal values if I do that. All right. The other two erasers that I use a lot are these Tombow erasers. This one has a specific shape. It's got like a rectangular rectangular kind of eraser attached to it, and it's refillable. So you'll see it's got an eraser like that. It works like a pen, and it's a bit more hard, and you can do a lot of detail with this eraser. And you can see it can work quite fine as well. So this is an eraser that I really use quite a bit. Okay, you get a round version of this one as well, which I cannot find. I actually put it down here, but I cannot find it right now. Okay, but never mind. Oh, here it is. This is the round one, so it's a lot thinner than the other one, and can do even more detail work. All right, the other erasers that I also use quite a bit to go back to the color of the paper. In this case, it's green, but one must remember it can be quite harsh. This is a battery operated eraser, and you get different kinds of these. These ones, the colorful ones, are cheapies. They just over 100 Rand, I think. But this one was a bit more expensive, but they're also one of the first erasers that came out, so then the cheapies came out as well. The only thing is you have to keep your finger on it, and it really erases quite well. You'll see the line is really nice and clean. Sometimes it jumps a little bit, so it's not always that easy to use. And yeah, it's quite a nice eraser to use. Okay, so that's about the erasers. You can use brushes and things to soften things and lines, you know, to get more layers on. So I'll soften some of it. Anything that you have handy that you can use to soften up. Okay. I think that is almost the range. Okay, there was one thing that I did leave out, and these are the charcoal pencils. You get different kinds, and they also come in hard or medium or soft. This one is a medium. This one is hard. So I think the hard ones tend to not erase that easily, so I use them at the end of the thing where I'm sure where I want to put this. Now let me see, you get these ones that are woodless charcoals. Now I've put them in this toothbrush holder because they break so easily. You can see I've fixed these. This one was broken in the middle there, so it's quite this one is a medium. This one is soft, so you can see it's a lot darker. I just want to show you. So it can go quite a lot darker. But again, if you want to erase it, let me just see. Yeah, you can see it does erase back, but it takes a few bits, and there's something still left of it, so it doesn't quite go back to the original color. All right, so I think that's more or less the basics of the things that we're going to use, are these tools. Yeah, I think that will just be an introduction to all the things that we are going to use, so that it's not completely new to you when you walk into the classroom. All right, was one other thing I can mention. You can also sharpen your charcoal by rolling it onto this sanding paper. Now all of these things will be provided for you to use in the class, but you can see then it can actually draw quite a fine line. Now how do you preserve your charcoals? The only real way to preserve it is to put it behind glass, and I'll show you in the class that how you frame it, because you actually have to put a spacer between your mounting board and the charcoal, so that if the dust collects and does fall off at any point, then it won't fall onto your mounting board. It will fall behind the mounting board. I don't like to fix my charcoals because I find that they merge the layers. So if you've got like a few layers and a few tonal values, it merges and it becomes a lot more flat. But I must say, if you fix it like in between, lightly, with a very good fixative, it gives you the opportunity to work on top of it a bit more. So that is something that one can try out. I don't like to use it in the workshops though, because it's got a smell and you actually have to do it in a ventilated area. So I'm very careful of using that in the classroom. Just want to show you the nice shapes that you can actually get by using your eraser. So your eraser is actually your drawing tool as well. Okay, so it's not just to use as getting rid of mistakes. It's definitely used for drawing as well and softening edges and things like that. Now this white crayon is just to bring back or give the highlights or give some highlights to this picture. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to combine all of these. I hope I've covered everything that you will need to know before you come to the workshop. Okay, I'll see you then.